Story 1. When I was a kid, my home situation wasn't exactly the healthiest or happiest, so I would constantly stay over at my best friend's house. His dad noticed, of course, but never made me feel uncomfortable about it. I would sometimes have all 3 meals with them. He never complained, even asked me how things were. He would treat me as one more kid around the house. I even remember one time he wanted to go to the movies all together, told his wife and kids to start getting ready. My best friend said, "But Name is here." He just took a glance at me and said, "Well, tell him to get ready too." Back then, I never appreciated the responsibility I was dropping onto him. Taking care of someone else's kid, making sure I would eat and be safe. The last time I saw him alive was a couple of years ago. My best friend's kid was going to get baptized, and of course, I was invited. His dad started chatting with me right away, asked about my life, job, family, how things were going. It was a good talk. He died of a stroke last year. Of course, I dropped everything to attend his funeral. By now, I called him Uncle. The last thing I said at his grave was, "Thanks for everything, Uncle." I wish I had thanked him while he was alive. Story 2. A job that you actually enjoy doing. Once you have had one and are forced to move on to another, you will hold up that good job as the one you will compare all your other jobs to. And some days, that is a real tough pill to swallow. Story 3. Having a best friend, a friend who will always choose you over anybody else, is something that everyone should have. Without one, life can feel quite depressing. Story 4. Stuff happens. People come and go. I know it's just a part of life, but regardless, I feel like I have yet to truly appreciate the time with loved ones or relationships I have fallen in love with. Too much time and energy wasted on stuff that really doesn't matter, and then one day they are gone. Story 5. A nice, comfortable job. I had a job at an obscure place. I was paid well, it was very flexible, I loved the work, and my team valued me. I was yearning for a startup job that sounded cool to others. I changed jobs for less pay and more stocks. It ended up very bad. The team was not great, it was not fun to work there, and there was a clique with the founders. I had to leave before being there for a year. Every time Sunday came around, I started to feel really sick, like I was going to vomit. Unlike my old job where I wanted to come to work, hang out with my team, and solve some difficult but fun problems. I managed to find another job quickly, but it took another 4 years for this job to evolve into a job that I liked and was fun to me. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Story 6. Well, I appreciated my little cat. What I didn't appreciate was the fact that he wouldn't be around for long. A living thing can't be replaced, and no two are the same. Death is forever, and I appreciate that a little more now. Story 7. The ability to run and jump was greatly impacted when I blew out a knee playing basketball in my late 20s. I did not have the health insurance or money to properly fix it, so whatever tear or partial tear I had healed on its own over time. I can walk fine, but if I get careless and run or jump, it will twist just like an ankle does. Story 8. Wealth. I'm not incredibly wealthy or anything, but for a good 10 years, I didn't have to worry about affording food, doctors, or getting overwhelmed by an emergency. Now, yes, I am one event away from being in trouble. Story 9. My right testicle. It wouldn't be so bad, and I can cross my legs very well now. However, sometimes it itches or needs adjusting, and it's not there. It's kind of like phantom limb sensation. Story 10. Bladder control. I had a hysterectomy at 33, and they nicked my bladder. I started leaking urine through my vagina, and due to the swelling from the hysterectomy, I couldn't have it repaired for 4 months. It's pretty humbling, and I'm grateful for every instance I am able to hold on to now. Story 11. Having your ears unclogged and having full range of hearing is a relief. The last time I had COVID-19, it turned into a sinus infection and ear infection. My ears were clogged without any reprieve from antibiotics or techniques to open the tubes for almost a full week. I was never so thankful when it cleared, and I could hear again. Story 12. I'm a salesman who drives 40,000 miles a year. I would always call my mother when I was going home in rush hour. I live in New York on Long Island, so traffic is always brutal. Usually, it would take me 2 or 3 hours to get home. This was a regular occurrence. I would call her, and she would keep me busy for at least an hour, talking about anything and everything. She loved to talk, and I loved to listen, so it worked out really well. But now, when I'm driving in rush hour, it hits me how I can't speak to her anymore. Story 13. My health. I have multiple chronic illnesses that control my life. All of you out there not taking precautions against COVID, thinking you are invincible, I really hope you do not become disabled. Trust me, it is terrible. Story 14. Electricity outages would occur at least once or twice a year, and they almost always happen near or at nighttime during the summer. So you're sweating a lot, scared that the 2 trees in front of the house might hit you, scared that you might get hit by a tornado or your property gets damaged by hail in complete darkness. Story 15. My teeth had to have them extracted for chemotherapy. I have new ones being made at a cost of $5,900 and they won't be ready until October 30th. I haven't had actual solid food since the beginning of July. I'm jealous of people who can eat raw vegetables. Story 16. Your you time. Whatever makes you de-stress. Compose yourself after a long day. The 20 minutes to yourself after work before heading home to not bring it home. Don't ever give it up for your mental health. I guess, in turn, your mental health. Never giving that up again. Story 17. The time I had with my oldest sister and 9-year-old niece was precious. They died in a car accident. I was also in the accident and had just turned 18 2 months before. I went through so much guilt about it because she left behind another daughter who was 11 at the time and a 1-year-old son. For a long time, I wished it had been me instead because it was tough watching my niece and nephew grow up without a mother. Story 18. Working for a company in Silicon Valley where management was amazing and the women in upper management were simply amazing, competent, smart, funny, no politics, no gossip. It was the best collection of people ever, but I didn't appreciate it until I worked for several companies after that, which were not like this. Story 19. The amount of money I made working at the strip club. But the girls come so innocent, full of life in their eyes, and leave empty and soulless by the end. I don't miss my soul, just miss the money. Story 20. Having energy to do things like talk, read, watch, walk, work, feel, think. It has been almost 10 years, and I have lost so much, and I did not even know this was possible. Story 21. Free will. The ability to just go wherever, whenever without hesitation. Now I have a baby, and you can't really do that anymore. You either pack your kid up with you, which is so inconvenient that it's not worth it unless you put a plan together, or it's something important enough. Like, a good example is running to the gas station to get a drink or something to snack on late at night. Not happening anymore. You have a sleeping baby, and it really isn't worth waking him and all the effort it would take just to get him in and out of the gas station. Oh, and you'll kiss going out to the bars goodbye. Even when you flesh out a plan to go, you either stop and realize you have no friends anymore or you're just too damn tired. You can't stay up and drink all night because you have to wake up with a baby. So yeah, free will. I miss that. Also, sleep. Miss that too. Story 22. My hearing and my smile. I lost both because of a tumor last year. I am permanently deaf in my left ear, and I have facial paralysis on the left side of my face. Story 23. Being able to go to my grandparents' house and walk with them through the green bean garden back there. It's a place I can never go back to, and it still hurts, even 20-some years later. Story 24. My body. I'm only 36, and since 2020, I've been hit with a back injury, got diagnosed with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and an autoimmune disease, and my kidneys are going downhill fast. Contracting COVID-19 made my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome way worse. My heart rate will go from around 67 beats per minute to 110 beats per minute just by standing up from sitting or lying down. I have fainted before. I can't work anymore. Trying to get disability, but it's a tough road. Story 25. My sister, my best friend forever. My mother, my cheerleader. I never recognized it until too late. My father, weird ways to show love. When you're the failure of the family, everyone is always telling you you're going to die young if you don't act right. Then you wake up, still alive at 45. Alone. Everyone has passed. everyone. How did I outlive them all? Maybe I didn't. Maybe this is what happens when you die. Maybe you just go on like nothing happened, and my family buried me instead. Now that I think about it, things have gotten really strange since I lost my family. Cherish the ones you love and let them know you love them, because one day you might end up in this terrible place with me when you wake up alive. Story 26. A safer world is where, when I went to high school, I didn't have to worry every single day with the fear that one of my peers would show up at school with an AR-15 and enough ammunition to harm my teachers and my friends. I worry when hearing breaking news, wondering if it involves one of my 23 grandchildren or 2 great-grandchildren, or one of my friends' families. This happened to me a few years ago at Glendale High School, where the kids I used to live with go to school. It's a reality and it's scary. Story 27. Here is the revised text corrected for Azure Text-to-Speak AI. For loving me as I truly was, scars and all. Her, for caring and loving me in my darkness. Her, for bearing a child we both lost and still being strong. Story 28. Not having much of my past shared online when I was younger, and what was there was never connected to my real name or face. I pity kids now. Every mistake they make is documented and will be used against them at some point. Story 29. One dog I had. I know I didn't care for him as much as I should have. One day he escaped, and a year later, I saw someone walking him in our neighborhood. I'm glad she found him, and he has a better home. Story 30. When I was actually thinner as a teenager, I weighed maybe 180 pounds and thought I was the absolute fattest. I would spend ages crying over it. Now I am an older woman, and in 2023, I inched closer to 300 pounds. I am steadily working to shed pounds without hurting myself. I wish I had never taken those days for granted. My relationship with my body was so screwed back then. Story 31. Being naive, the term ignorance is bliss, isn't truly understood until you've lived a little, realizing how truly blissful it was to live in the moment without any drama. Story 32. My optimism and hope I had for the future were filled with so many dreams. Hopes of success, a house, marriage, kids, vacations, and a long, healthy, happy life. My only hope now is that rent won't increase too much or too quickly, and that if and when I decide to end my life, I'll be able to do it quickly. If you are thinking about suicide or are concerned about a friend or loved one, support is available. Please reach out to a counselor or a suicide prevention hotline in your region. Remember, you are not alone. Story 33. Childhood Wonder. When you are a child, the world is just so bright, colorful, and magical. I used to think it's just how things are. Then I grew up. Story 34. The security net of a parent. I had my mom living in the attached city, and if something ever happened, I was able to go home. Place to stay, food on the table, a free washer and dryer, advice on things like insurance or contracts, things that I just said, I can get my mom's help on. I felt very alone and unprepared once that was gone. Even in my 30s, I still have questions about stuff that I wish I could just go over and talk to my mom about because she's been through it. Story 35. The ability to just go to sleep. I am a mom, and while I used to be able to sleep through natural disasters, I actually did once. Now I wake up every few hours every night to check on my sleeping children. The dog even knows how regularly I wake up, and she waits at my bedroom door to make the rounds. I wish I could just lay my head down and close my eyes without spending hours worrying before drifting off to a sleep disrupted by waking to verify everyone's safety. Story 36. Full-time hours and the insurance that came with them. My hours were cut. My medications went from $12 a month to $700, and I don't know how I'm going to survive. Story 37. My dad. When I was 13 years old, I took him for granted. He died of a heart attack at only 51 years old, and I've lived my entire adult life without him. I'd give anything to have him back. Story 38. Spending time with my 2 grandfathers, I never realized how much I cherished those moments until now. They both taught me so much. One showed me the importance of hard work and the joy of playing equally hard. The other taught me not to take life so seriously and introduced me to the joys of sports. One shared his wisdom on money and investing, while the other emphasized the importance of family. Those two men will forever be missed, and I deeply regret not spending more time with them when they were here. Story 39. The ability to feel things from music. I majored in music and spent a lot of my time listening to music and creating it, so it's not like I didn't appreciate the ability before. But I guess I didn't realize it was the kind of thing that could just be gone one day. Story 40. Having an able or normally functioning body. Over the past few years, my physical, and as a result, mental health have declined sharply, and I almost can't remember what it's like to go months without vomiting, let alone so aggressively it's debilitating. Thus, some of my favorite lyrics have become, I guess it goes to show, does it not, that we've no idea what we've got until we lose it, and no amount of love will keep it around if we don't choose it. Story 41. The free time and relatively stress-free life I had before becoming upper management and eventually a part owner of the company I worked for out of college. I miss being able to leave work at 5 on Friday and not think about it until 8 on Monday. Story 42. My father went missing a month after I turned 18. I wish I had done more to appreciate him and accomplished more in life when he was still on Earth. I just hope he's proud of me and everything I'm doing right now. Miss you, Dad. Love you always. Story 43. Before the COVID pandemic, yes, I appreciate some aspects that emerged from the COVID era, such as the increased popularity of strikes. However, I do miss the meme culture from before, certain makeup trends like colorful eyeshadow, the smaller businesses that were in my town, longer shopping hours depending on the time of year, like Walmart being open 24/7 during the holidays, and some of my friends,